Hey guys, what is up? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and we are talking some college football. And I want to give you one of my hot takes for the season before the season takes off this next week. And we're going to be looking at two quarterbacks that used to be teammates, but now are on different teams. All right, let's go ahead and let's get into this. If you looked at the thumbnail or you read the description or the title of this video, you know we're going to be talking about Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts. And yes, I believe that Jalen Hurts is going to have an overall better season than Tua. I believe that he will finish with better quarterback stats, and I believe that he will finish higher in the Heisman final ratings. Now, he might not beat him in all stats, but I feel like he's just going to have a better season and that he's going to finish higher in that final Heisman rating. And I think that Jalen has a better chance of winning the Heisman, actually, honestly, than Tua does this season. Before we dive in and breaking that down and my thoughts with that, I want to go take a walk down memory lane with you. So go ahead with me. Let's go back in our minds and let's go back to the winter and back in January, and we're sitting there watching the national championship. And we're seeing the game just slip away from Alabama. And Nick Saban's on the sidelines, and he sees it, and he just can't help himself. What does he do? Wait a second. That's Jalen Hurts going out on the field. That's right. He pulls Tua just like he pulled Jalen Hurts the year before, thinking that it might, just generate something and get them back into this game. And it doesn't. It doesn't. And I think because of that moment and a few other things, I think that truly Tua is going to take a step back this year. Now, let's go ahead and let's dive into that a little bit. So, spoiler alert, if you didn't know what happened, after the season, Jalen Hurts goes ahead and he transfers, and because he's already graduated, he's immediately eligible at Oklahoma. He now is the starting quarterback for the Oklahoma Sooners, and Tua is back starting for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, the reason why I believe that Tua is going to take a step back is for a few reasons. One is I just think that that's still in his psyche. I really do. I think that in the back of his mind, him getting pulled like that, because remember, this guy's a guy that really has never had that type of thing happen to him ever in his life. Not that I don't think that he can get over it, or that not that he's going to get over. I think he will. And I think he's going to have a good season. But I don't think he's going to have as great of a season as he did a year ago. That's reason one. The second reason is if you listen to Nick Saban talk over this past season when he talks about the quarterback position and the quarterbacks and Tua specifically, he keeps mentioning that Tua needs to get better and that he needs to work on. I mean, granted, it's Nick Saban. He's always that way. But after you kind of do something like that to a player and then do that with him, now I have no clue what he's saying to him behind the scenes and what he does with his players behind the scenes, but that kind of rough out there in the media with that and stuff, and I don't know, I just like I said, there's just something there that just doesn't sit right with me. The third reason that I have is personnel. They've lost a lot of coaching personnel from last year, so they're going to have to bring new people in there. So there might be some adjustment period and some things of that nature with that, and getting used to new coaches and doing things differently and that. So Tua's going to have to get accustomed to that, and I think that there might be a little bit of a learning curve with that. The fourth thing that we got going on is I think that Alabama's going to get back to more of a running game this year. I truly do feel like they're going to feature the run and not fling the ball like they did last year. Last year, that was one thing that Tua had. He just threw the ball up, and his wide receivers went and got it. They had more talent than pretty much everybody they played. And when they got in a situation where they played against other teams that had the talent that they did, Tua did struggle. Now, granted, I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass. We do know that he did get injured toward the end of the season, and he was playing injured. Now, how severe that was, and if he really got better, we really don't know. But we do know that probably hindered maybe his performance, maybe a little bit towards the end of the season, but there's no doubt about it. When they played tougher when they played tougher teams, he didn't do as well against them as he did, against the lesser opponents and things of that nature. So that's kind of some of my thoughts to where I think why Tua is going to take a little bit of a step back. Granted, I don't think that it's going to be, something where he's going to have a terrible season. I just think he's going to take a little bit of a sophomore setback, and his numbers aren't going to be as good this year. It's not going to be as flashy, and he's not the new flashy car anymore. So some of that, that new hot guy on the scene is going to kind of rub off a little bit. Now, looking at Jalen Hurts, before we start talking really about the reasons why, I sat down and I watched a little bit of the Oklahoma spring game, and I'm watching the quarterback, and I'm like, that's Jalen Hurts? I don't remember that guy. Yeah, that's Jalen Hurts. I mean, he seemed faster. He seemed like he could throw a better ball than what he did. He was making great decisions. I mean, he just looked like a totally different quarterback. So I don't know what happened. I mean, I'm going to give credit to Lincoln Riley. I mean, well, the man has had the past two Heisman Trophy winners in Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield seemed to have a really good season last year, in Cleveland. And we'll see what Kyler Murray does. It'd be interesting to see. The verdict's still out on him, but you got something there. And so with Jalen Hurts, I just saw the resurgence of this guy, and then I got to thinking in the back of my head, wait. This guy came in and tore it up as a freshman. Oh, wait. That year that they won the national championship with Tua, he actually played pretty well that year. I wonder if Saban was holding him back. I don't think that the offense that Alabama runs is really akin to a quarterback like Jalen Hurts that has kind of the talents that he does. I mean, Tua is very much that traditional style of pocket passer, and I feel like, that offense is kind of built for a guy, like him, so I think that Tua fit a little bit better in that system. But not only that, but, I mean, there is that, but it just seemed to me like Jalen was just kind of unleashed. And if we get an unleashed Jalen Hurts, and the Big 12 doesn't play as hard of a defense as a lot of these SEC teams do. So Jalen's going to be going against competition that probably is slightly less. I mean, this guy's going to put up some numbers. I truly feel like he's going to be putting up some numbers this year. And I think he's going to be turning heads, and I think he's going to become that that new trendy Heisman pick, when things start going off, and he's got these ridiculous numbers, and he's putting up the stuff like Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield did. And I just think that towards the end of the season, when everything's all said and done, that we're going to be looking at this thing a little bit differently, and that, Jalen Hurts might actually come out of this thing as a not only getting drafted, but he might. I could see him getting drafted in one of the first 3 rounds if he has a decent season. I truly do. It just seems to be that he just kind of fits where he's at. So that's just kind of my thoughts on that. I know for some of you guys, especially you Alabama fans, this is going to be kind of a little bit more of a controversial take, and you guys might not like me for that. But I'm putting this out there before the season starts. You heard it here first, that Jalen Hurts is going to have a better season than Tua. Again, guys, that's just my thoughts. You can go ahead and let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you agree with me? You don't? That's fine too. I just want to start a discussion and see if we can have some fun talking some football with one another. All right, guys, so I know you're busy and I know I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You guys have a good night.